In this session, we will discuss about MySQL triggers. In MySQL, a trigger is a stored program which is invoked automatically in response to an event such as an insert, update, or a delete event that occurs in the associated table. For example, you can define a trigger that is invoked automatically before a new row is inserted into a table. MySQL supports basically three types of triggers that are invoked in response to the insert, update, or the delete event. The SQL standard defines two types of triggers. The first one, which is called as the row level trigger, and the second one called as the statement level trigger. A row level trigger is activated for each row that is inserted, updated, or deleted. For example, if a table has 100 rows inserted, updated, or deleted, the trigger is automatically invoked 100 times for the 100 rows affected. Whereas, a statement level trigger is executed once for each transaction, regardless of how many rows are inserted, updated, or deleted. In this session, we will concentrate only on the row level triggers. Now, what are the advantages of triggers? Trigger will provide a way to check the integrity of the data. It will also handle errors from the database layer. It gives an alternative way to run scheduled tasks. By using triggers, you do not have to wait for scheduled events to run because the triggers are invoked automatically before or after a change is made to the data in the table. Also, triggers can be useful for auditing the data changes in the table. Coming to the disadvantages of triggers, trigger can only provide extended validations and not all validations. For simple validations, you can make use of the not null, unique, check, and the foreign key constraints. At times, triggers can be difficult to troubleshoot because they execute automatically in the database, which may not be visible to the client applications. Now here we have 6 different types of triggers. The event remains the same, that is, the event can be either you insert or you update or you delete, but the timing changes. So the timing can be either before insert or after, before update, after update, before delete or after delete. So basically we have 6 different types of triggers. Events are insert, update, and delete. Timing is before and after. Now coming to the syntax of trigger. In this syntax, first specify the name of the trigger that you want to create after the create trigger keyword. So create and trigger is the keyword followed by the trigger name, which is a user defined name. Make sure that this trigger name is unique within a database. Next, you specify the trigger action time, which can be either before or after, which indicates that the trigger is invoked before or after each row is modified. Then specify the operation that activates the trigger. So this operation, that is either the insert operation or the update operation or the delete operation, will update this trigger. After that, specify the name of the table to which the trigger belongs to after the on keyword. So this will be your table name on which you are applying the trigger. Finally, specify the statements to execute when the trigger activates. If you want to execute multiple statements, you can make use of the begin and the end compound statements. So if it is multiple statements, the trigger body can be specified using the begin and the end statements ending with a semicolon. We will see an example of a trigger. So we will create a trigger which will keep a track of the changes that are done to the employee table. We'll make use of the employee tables from the classic models database. So this is the structure of your employees relation in the classic models database, where employee number is the primary key and the other attributes are last name, first name, extension, email, office code, reports to, and job title. So we will write a trigger on this table. We'll apply a trigger on this table such that it will keep track of the changes that are done to the table before an updation is applied. So the first step in executing a query, in executing a trigger, is you create a new table. Now here I am creating a new table called as employee audits table, employee audit table. Now the attributes of this table are ID, employee number, last name, change date, and another attribute called as action, wherein the default value I am setting it to none. The data type of change date is date time. The data type of last name is varchar, employee number is integer, and ID is made as auto increment, data type is integer, and it is set to primary key. Now in our classic models database we already have this particular table, that is the employees table, and I have created a new table called as employees audit, so that when updation is done to the tuples in the employees table, so what was the state of the tuple before an updation is applied, those values will be stored in the employees audit table. So that is the reason this particular table, that is employee audit, has been created. So basically what I will do is I will try to keep a track of the last name. So when an updation is done to the employees table, after the updation the new name will reflect in the employees table. But what was the prior name before the updation is being applied, that particular value will be saved in the employees audit relation. Now the next step is you write your trigger. So we have already seen the syntax for creating a trigger. So what will be the structure of this trigger? So we say create trigger. Now the name of this trigger is before employees update. So this can be any user defined name. So I have given the name as before employee update. The timing is before, the event is update. So before updating, what was the state of the database? That state will be stored in the employees audit table with respect to each row. So now this trigger, that is before employee update, is being applied on the employees table. We have already seen the structure of the employees table. For each row when an updation is being applied, you insert into, so here keywords are insert into a new table, that is employees audit, set the values to so and so. So we have one attribute, that is action. So by default I am setting the value of the attribute action as update. The other three attributes, employee number, last name, and change date, what are the values that are applied to this attributes? Now here employee number, the last name, and change, this attributes refer to the attributes of employee audit table. These attributes are from your employee audit table, whereas these attributes are from your employees relation. Now when an updation is being done to the employees table, whichever row is being updated, whatever is the employee number, that is the old employee number, the field value is applied to employee number from the employees audit table, in the employees audit table. Whatever was the last name, that is the old last name, will be applied to the attribute last name with respect to the employees audit table. Now this is an inbuilt function now which will keep a track of the current date and time when the updation was being made. So under change date, the current date and time will be stored. So once our trigger has been done, you can always see whether the execution of your trigger was successful or not by using the clause show triggers. So if the trigger has been executed successfully, it will show you this particular table which will give you information about the trigger. So the name of our trigger is before employee update, the event is update. This particular trigger, that is before employee update, has been applied on this particular relation, that is table on table employees. This was the definition of our trigger and the timing was before. If more than one triggers, all the triggers will be listed down over here. Now we'll see how this particular trigger works. We now know that there are so many tuples already existing in the employees relation, but the employees audit relation does not have any tuples in it because we have not inserted any data in the employees audit table. Now step 3. Now this is a snapshot of your employees table. I have just taken the first two tuples from your employees relation. It is clearly visible over here with respect to the employees relation. It gives you the employee number, the last name, the first name, the extension, email, office code, reports to, and the job title of each and every employee. Now what I'll do is I will apply an updation query. I'll update the data in the employees table. So what will I update is, I'll try to update the last name of 1056. As of now, the last name of 1056 is Patterson. I'll write a query to update last name of 1056 to Han. Okay. So I'll write an update query on the employees table. So my update query will look like update employees relation set last name equals to Han, where the employee number is 1056. We have already seen how to write an update query in our previous sessions. So now what will happen is this value, that is the last name of 1056, should be updated to a new value, that is Han. Right? Now in step number 4, what I do is I just query the employee audit table. Now, if you see the employees audit table, we had just created the employees table. I have not made any insertion with respect to the employees audit table, but still there is some entry which is visible to you all right now. The entry is, we have one tuple in this relation with the ID is 1, the employee number is 1056, and the old value of 1056, that was Patterson. So before updating, whatever was the value existing in the employees table, those values are being saved into this new relation, that is employees audit, which also track what is the date and time when it was being updated and what was the action. And now if you go back to your employees table, you will be able to see that the last name of 1056 has been updated from Patterson to Han. So this is how triggers work. Even though I have not made any changes, I have not made any insertions to the employees audit table, but still automatically, since a trigger has been written based upon the timing before and the event was updated. So before updating, whatever were the contents based on my definition, those before updation values are being stored into this particular new table, that is employees audit table. So you keep on making changes to the employees table with respect to the last name. Whenever you make a change to the last name, that last name will be reflected into your employees audit table. So this is how triggers work.